Hey, how are y'all doing today, man? Welcome back to your favorite reaction channel. At least I hope so. I'm your host, Riley, and today we're bringing y'all some crazy Diddy news, man. Apparently, he's not too happy with the feds right now because back in October, the Metropolitan Jail was raided, which is actually housing P. Diddy. Now he's trying to come out and say the raid was because of him. They're the whole reason they raided the jail, I guess. Basically, I feel like he's just trying to do anything in his power to get this case thrown out or to get a super light sentence from getting treated unfairly or something like that. You know what I mean? Dude's got money. He's got smart lawyers. They're going to be trying stuff like this. I'm going to stop rambling, though. We're just going to hop right in. Let's go. O'Reilly. Alright, y'all, before we record this clip, make sure you're comfortable, grab something to snack on and something to sip, and let's enjoy this video together, man. Let's see if Diddy had that baby oil in his jail cell, man. Let's see.
High-powered defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are once again blasting federal prosecutors with the Southern District of New York, accusing them of not only allegedly targeting their client in an unconstitutional raid of his cell, but also lying about it to the court. Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering case is just a few short months away from going to trial, and the defense is demanding a hearing in front of the judge. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Now he's demanding to be seen in front of the judge.
Over the last several weeks, lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs have filed motion after motion, letter after letter, wanting more details about how the feds were able to get into their client's cell at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center out in New York, and whether anybody broke the law to do it.
It's a jail raid, bro.
Combs has been locked up since September out in Brooklyn after a federal grand jury indicted him on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The prosecutor's allegations date back years, but Combs also has been accused in civil court of misconduct that allegedly dates back to the 1990s, lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, accusing him of serious, heinous acts
Got about 30
men,
of them.
Women and children. But to be clear, Combs has always maintained his innocence, and he has never been convicted of or found liable of any sort of sexual assault or abuse. And his attorneys are saying he is looking forward to clearing his name in court, upcoming trial in May. Now, at the heart of much of the most recent legal drama is a raid that was carried out at the MDC back in October. This is a jail, by the way, that is infamous for drugs, weapons, violence. So
that looks like a scary-ass jail, man.
For any sort of contraband that any of the inmates might have, not just Sean Combs. He was questioned, photographs were taken of items in his cell, and according to a filing from federal prosecutors, quote, the sweep was pre-planned and coordinated to ensure the safety and security of staff and inmates at the
like I said, protocol, bro.
Larger safety and security initiative and not in response to any particular threat or intelligence. The MDC sweep planned well in advance of the defendant's arrest and not conducted to target any particular inmate, included the jail and the warehouse where MDC food and other property are stored. During the MDC sweep, multiple housing units were searched, including the defendant's unit. Although the case team, members of the government responsible for investigating, charging, and trying the present case, were aware in advance that the defendant's housing unit, in addition to other areas of the jail, would be searched, no one on the case team supervised, conducted, or participated in the search of any housing unit, nor the search of the defendant's bunk area. The case team was not aware in advance of which agents and officers were taking part in the MDC sweep, nor what role any specific agent or officer would play in the MDC sweep. So according to the government, a person referred to as Investigator 1 had apparently been monitoring Sean Combs' phone calls and other communications. That's one of the ways that officials learned that Combs was allegedly breaking the jail rules by reportedly doing things like using other inmates' ID numbers or initiating three-way phone calls to potentially contact somebody he wasn't supposed to. But the defense has raised alarm bells when they say
interesting three-way phone call
improperly took photos of privileged notes in Combs' cell and then gave that information to the prosecution, despite the fact that the defense claims the word legal was written on the notepads, meaning there's attorney-client privilege issues. So there ended up being some sort of confusion about what was labeled legal and when the word legal may have been written on them, but in the end, The judge determined that the prosecution needed to get rid of some of the photos and said they weren't allowed to use the information in the latest round of bail arguments that they made several months ago. By the way, Combs' team tried to secure him bail 3 different times in front of 3 different judges, but pretrial release was denied every time, and it seems at this point he has given up any further fight on that issue. But
I do have one quick question. Hopefully y'all can answer this in the comment section. When you're in jail, do they have to have like a, what's it called? Do they have to have a reason to check the phone calls, to search your cell? Like, dude, you're in jail, right? Like, I don't think you have those rights to you when you're in jail under the city. Or is your phone call still private and your bunk, it just don't make no sense. Do they have to have like I forgot what the word is. And it's just right on the tip of my tongue. But basically they don't have do they have to have a reason to check the phone calls? Let me know.
the defense argued, look, something's wrong here. Something's up. We think the
Probable
prosecution
cause.
acted in
That's
bad
what I was
faith
looking for.
with respect to this search, with respect to this sweep. So with that in mind, now I want to take a look at the AUSA's statement. So Slavic has been with the Southern District of New York's office.
That boy
since
must have a
November
yellow
of
ass tie
2019
on.
and has been prosecuting this case since August of 2024, September of 2024. Now Slavic writes, on or about October 13th, 2024, I spoke with Investigator 1, who provided an overview of some of the defendant's calls that he had monitored. Investigator 1 also detailed the unauthorized methods of communications the defendant was using, including using other inmates' PAC numbers, using three-way calling, and using a third-party messaging service. Based on my discussions with another USAO SDNY unit chief who does not supervise...
Does he have an iPhone or something in there? I'm confused.
...or otherwise have involvement in the defendant's prosecution, this is Supervisor 2, so somebody who's not connected to the Diddy case, I have learned that beginning in or around June and July 2024, the BOP and the United States Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General began planning a large-scale search of the MDC for contraband. So this is before Sean Combs was even arrested. Now, Slavic says that she went back through some emails around the time of the sweep, October 28th. Now, according to those emails, the prosecution team learned about the sweep when Supervisor 2 sent an email to the whole office letting them know that the sweep was underway in response to, quote, persistent contraband issues.
Just saying, if a jail looks like this, bro, they need to be having jail searches in here, bro. Look at this prison, dude. This thing looks like it's straight out of a movie. Like, this looked like Alcatraz ×2 if there wasn't a big-ass lake around it, or ocean. Like, this literally looks crazy, bro.
And she says the supervisor
looks like a big-ass U-Haul with the
no
orange.
specific threat was being investigated. And Slavic says she understood those emails to also be saying that if anything related to any of the cases that
Stranger
the
Things type
AUSA
deal
were
right there.
working on, like the Diddy case, if anything like that was seized, they would be told about it. But the search apparently was taking way too long to do, and there were concerns that investigators may not even make it to the jail unit where Combs is being held. So Slavic's declaration reads, Supervisor 2 informed Supervisor 1 that the sweep of the west side of the MDC was taking longer than expected, and it was unclear whether the east side of the MDC would be searched. Supervisor 1 informed Supervisor 2 that, in her view, the MDC sweep should include the east side of the MDC as planned, in part because of what the prosecution team
That doesn't make
had
no sense.
learned
Search one
regarding
side, not the
defendant's
other.
conduct at the MDC. At the request of Supervisor 2, Supervisor 1 conferred with USAO SDNY senior leadership about the search of the east side of the jail.
Strange.
This conversation included, in substance, that the sweep was taking longer than expected and did not include discussion of the defendant. Thereafter, Supervisor 1 relayed to Supervisor 2 that the position of the USAO SDNY was that the MDC sweep should stick to the original plan to search the entire jail. Supervisor 2 relayed to other personnel present at the MDC in substance
Supervisor 1?
that the sweep of Unit 1 should proceed as planned. Now, I want you to pay very careful attention to that because that's something that the defense is going to seize on, that they were directing the Bureau of Prisons on who to search. Okay. AUSA Slavic continues. On or about November 3rd, 2024,
They searched the whole jail.
Of the MDC
They searched the whole jail.
The prosecution team first became aware of Investigator 1's involvement in the MDC sweep through a phone call between myself and Investigator 1. Investigator 1 informed me that he had spent time in the defendant's unit and checked the defendant's bunk area for contraband, including cell phones. Investigator 1 also informed me that he took photographs of certain of the defendant's papers and an address book. Investigator 1 provided a high-level overview of the contents of the BOP notes, including the defendant's plans to discredit possible witnesses and find dirt on people. At the conclusion of the November 3rd, 2023 call, I requested that Investigator 1 send the BOP notes directly to the AUSA leading the filter team, i.e., the team charged with reviewing material that may contain attorney communications or work product. We've talked about this before, but a filter team is
They just have teams for everything in the government, bro.
This is a separate
teams for everything, bro.
Team goes through the communication, sees what might be privileged and what can and can't be turned over to the prosecutor.
I bet there's a team out there who gets toilet paper for the president, dude. A whole team dedicated to it. I guarantee it. It's crazy, dude. Like, bro, all of our taxpayer dollars is going to nonsense, man.
So again, the investigator's sworn statement was filed.
They're great at spending our money, that's for sure. Thanks, government.
The defense team can. And they hit back with a filing of their own. And they have been calling out the prosecution for parts of the declaration that they called, quote, remarkably vague. And they say, actually, the U.S. Attorney's Office is proving the defense's point. Combs' defense writes, quote, the declarations show that ever since the government first tried to use Mr. Combs' privilege notes to continue his detention, it has presented a materially false narrative about how it got access to these sensitive, privileged materials containing his defense strategy and communications with his attorneys. Most significantly, the declarations reveal SDNY supervisors directed the BOP to search Mr. Combs' unit because of its investigation and prosecution of Mr. Combs.
That's the first time I'm hearing that, so how's that possible?
Consistently monitored Mr. Combs' legal calls. In other words, they confirm what Mr. Combs has been arguing all along, that the search was conducted based upon a pretext, not for any legitimate penological reason, and that investigator surveillance before and during the search violated Mr. Combs' constitutional rights and invaded the attorney-client privilege. They go on to say, the declarations expose that after the sweep began, it was unclear whether Mr. Combs' unit would be searched at all. Moreover, the search of that unit was carried out specifically at the direction of SDNY supervisors, including the supervisor for this case, because of their interest in obtaining evidence against Mr. Combs. The prosecution was
What'd they find, bro? They must have found something.
No, we only directed this because we were getting word that he was breaking the jail rules and was possibly doing stuff to interfere with this case. So again, two different narratives here. But the defense claims that the declarations here, they just aren't good enough, alleging that they're inconsistent with one another and they rely on hearsay. Quote, the truth is that the search of Mr. Combs' unit apparently was not even part of the BOP's original plan for the sweep, but it was SDNY supervisors, including the trial team's own unit chief, Supervisor 1, who ultimately directed the search. And the search was conducted not for legitimate institutional security reasons, but because Supervisor 1 was interested in searching Mr. Combs. The declaration
ain't nobody
interested
in that, dude.
The Investigator 1 consistently monitored Mr. Combs' privileged communications with his attorneys.
No male figure out there should be wanting to search Diddy, bro. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his crib. Like, I'm not getting near. I ain't touching that dude with a 10-foot pole, bro. Why in the world would I want to go search this shit? You know, you don't even know what you're finna find in there. Hell no.
In its opposition to the defense motion, the government claimed it made
I'd be saying that right in court too.
To avoid coming into contact with privileged material, and that it is contrary to facts and logic to suggest Investigator 1 was its informant in the defense camp. But it turns out Investigator 1 has been spying on the defense team all along. Investigator 1 thus repeatedly informed the trial team he was eavesdropping on privileged communications, but the trial team never instructed him to stop. That is outrageous. Worse, the trial team endorsed his conduct by requesting the communications at issue. Accordingly, the government has obtained and produced to the defense over 30 of the defense's own calls with Mr. Combs.
Now that would be a red flag.
Declarations. The defense team also calls out problems they see with AUSA Slavic's statement in particular, writing, the Slavic declaration is largely based on unsworn hearsay, much of which is vague and raises more questions than it answers. For example, the discussion between the unidentified BOP personnel and Supervisor 1 on October 10th, 2024 lacks any detail. Important questions remain. Who are the BOP personnel? What was said? Why was Supervisor 1 contacted seemingly out of the blue by the BOP? And how did the BOP know who to contact? Based on the chain of events, it is likely the BOP had standing orders from Supervisor 1 or other SDNY personnel to monitor Mr. Combs and
They trying to get
on
Diddy's ass locked, bro.
When were such orders given and why? Were there other communications leading up to this call? AUSA Slavic also fails to share what she personally discussed and when with Investigator 1. She merely states, "I spoke with Investigator 1 on several other occasions in October and November 2024. Curiously, in contrast to the Slavic declaration, Investigator 1's declaration nowhere states that he described the contents of Mr. Combs' notes to AUSA Slavic. Why the inconsistency, and what is he hiding? Inconsistencies like this undermine the credibility of the declaration and further underscore the need for a hearing. Indeed, it is clear Investigator 1 previously misled prosecutors by telling them he took the photographs of Mr. Combs' notes. That is apparently not true. Yet Investigator 1's declaration still fails to identify the individual who actually took the photographs. Who is this person? What did he do with the photographs? Who else saw them? And did the government have any communications with this individual? Did the government ever interview that individual before filing its response to Mr. Combs' motion or to comply with the court's order to file the declarations? So what the defense is asking for is a...
So I'm just confused how they're... So I guess there's two people that were in charge of searching the rooms. One person allegedly states that he is the one that took the picture. The one person searching the room. Now the defense is coming out saying it was just some random guy off the street. Like, that's why that don't make no sense to me. How do they know? How do they know it wasn't the actual security guard, I'm guessing, doing the search that took the picture? Like, it don't make no sense to me. Who else is gonna be able to get in there with a phone, a camera, get in a Diddy cell, bro? There's not many people. I'm telling you, there's not.
Hearing right now in front of Judge Arun Subramanian, who's overseeing this case. They want to hammer out all of these details, these alleged inconsistencies.
He's fishing, bro. That's what he's doing.
To get to the bottom of how exactly Combs' jail
You don't want to spend life in jail. I understand.
Because the defense ends their filing
Prison.
by saying, instead of sharing the full story, the government has cherry-picked a few facts and submitted declarations that undermine the credibility of its previous submissions, omit key facts, and raise numerous important questions about what really happened. A full hearing in which Mr. Combs' counsel are afforded the opportunity to cross-examine the government actors with knowledge of the facts relevant to the search is the only way to find the true facts and understand the full picture so the court can assess how best to remedy this grave violation of Mr. Combs' constitutional rights. So Combs' team is also demanding any more discovery mentioned in the documents that the prosecution may not have turned over yet. Now, at the time of this recording on Monday, the judge has not yet made a ruling on whether a hearing will be held, and if so, when it will be held. But big picture here, if you can present enough egregious violations of a defendant's rights, evidence could be suppressed from this trial. Maybe they'll have another opportunity to present a bail defense, although seems unlikely. But maybe you could have the prosecution's team be recused from this case. That would probably effectively delay this trial. Or even in the most extreme example, charges could be dropped, the case could be dismissed. Not saying anything like this could happen here, but let's see where it unfolds.
That's what he's fishing for, bro.
But that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody.
And that's a wrap, man. I don't know, man. Diddy's he's really trying. He's got a good ass lawyer, you can tell, man. Dude's smart. He's trying everything in his power to see what he can do before this trial commences, man. Because if he can get this whole case thrown out, that would be ideal. But based on what we're hearing that the city's doing, bro, they're not letting Diddy out, man. They're not. There's no way they're letting Diddy out. And I don't think they're gonna drop that case either. I'm just being real. What's your thoughts and comments on this video? You think this case is getting dropped, or are we gonna see P. Diddy face trial and fight for his life, man? I mean, that's probably what it's gonna be if he gets convicted of all this, man. Probably gonna serve the rest of his life in prison. Be no more Diddy on the streets. But like I said, what's your thoughts and comments on this video, man? This one sounds crazy. This one's gonna be getting crazy here in the next few months, and we're gonna be definitely covering the whole story about Diddy, man. I'm super curious to see, did he do it? Other than that, man, let's go ahead and roll this outro. Let's go. Alright, y'all, we're gonna wrap this one up right here. Enjoy this type of content. I'm gonna have a playlist linked right here in the video. It's gonna have all the reactions on there for y'all to check out. We'll be dropping 5 videos a week on this channel. 5 videos a week. So it's super important you go down and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell so you know when we do upload that fire content. Come say what's up. Be the first to comment on the next video. You might just get a shout out. Other than that, I appreciate y'all watching to the end of this video. If you have, you're a real one. And yeah, we just want to wrap this one up right here. Y'all have a blessed rest of your day. And we'll go ahead and catch y'all tomorrow's video. Peace.